Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Renewables Podcast. And we are going to do an installer show special on this one. But before we get into that and welcome our guests today, how are you doing, Mark?
I'm really good, really good. We're in the process of moving to our new space. The sun is shining, it's warm and sunny. What's not to like?
Exactly. We're feeling that too. We're all smiles. We're not gonna be negative on any work or anything like that. We're going to be nice and positive in this positive weather. But we have a very special guest. We've got Joe from Installer Show. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks for inviting me. Thanks, guys.
No problem. Well, we've got Installer Show coming up, and so we wanted to get you on, and you can basically give people a little bit of information on what to expect from Installer Show, and we can chat about what we're planning to do there, stuff we're planning to give away, a bit of an itinerary of what we're planning to do, and loads of other things. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to hear about all of that, and hopefully everyone watching and listening to this can get pre-registered and get their tickets ready to come.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll pop a link in the description wherever you're watching this to go off and register for Installer Show, because you do have to do that to get in. They need to know to expect you. And I think you've got quite a big setup for us all waiting, haven't you, Joe? Is it 3 halls this time?
Yeah. So it's even bigger this year. So hall 5, 4, and then we're into 3A of the NEC, which is big. So yeah, and obviously like tickets are free as well. So all you have to do is pre-register, or you can turn up on the day, but ideally pre-register.
Yeah, I've got to say I have turned up on the day before, and it's a nightmare. Like if you got those tickets there, ready to go, straight through, it makes life so much easier. So it's a good idea to do that, and a reminder that I do need to do that.
We were just talking as well before, and you still both haven't done it yet.
Nah.
So
We can neither confirm nor deny, Joe. But so it's on the 24th, 25th, and 26th of June.
Yep.
Isn't it? Yeah, brilliant. So we've covered all bases, and at the NEC.
yeah, NEC
Yeah.
Birmingham, yeah.
And what time is it? What time does it all kick off?
It opens at 10 o'clock and it closes at 5 on the first 2 days, and it's a 4 o'clock close on the Thursday.
Okay, great.
I guess the history of the show is quite plumbing centric. Is that fair to say? Is that how it sort of formed way back, and now it's grown into this beast we all see?
Yeah, do you want to give you a brief history?
Yeah, please do.
So Installer magazine was a magazine, and it was, so when Corgi had the gas safe register, basically, so when Corgi was the register, Corgi had the mag, and it went out to all the heating engineers as part of their license. Then it moved to gas safe register, and then my boss, our kind of founder, was working for the magazine and took the magazine on as an independent. So it became like an independent mag where you had to opt in to register for it, and you get it through the door. So it was always free, but that was it was more independent. It wasn't something that you got with your license. And then in 2015, we launched Installer Show. So it's the 10-year anniversary this year, which is quite exciting. So there was Installer Live, which was a kind of plumbing and heating trade show that ran at the Rico Arena in the Midlands, and that kind of went away. There was another couple of like heating and plumbing or renewables-ish shows that ran in the Rico, and then for whatever reason they just didn't go anymore. So there was a bit of a gap. Back in 2015, Ian made the decision to launch at the Rico and kind of eventicize the magazine. So all the people that you see in the mag, which is mainly heating and plumbing based, would be there. And then we built it up from there. So yeah, when it launched, it was quite small. Like if you look at, there's like the floor plan of where it was the first year at the Rico 10 years ago to what it is now. We kind of grew it every year, 16, 17. Then we had the COVID one where we couldn't get it out. And then 2021, we took the whole of the Rico. So before it was like a little bit of the Rico, then a bit bigger, then we sold out. There was another hall that we moved into, and we essentially just outgrew it. So I had to move to the NEC, which is like the big kind of venue in the UK, one of the big venues, the biggest one in the middle. Then it's grown again. So hall 5 is the biggest single hall for exhibitions in the UK. So not many trade shows, especially B2B ones, even get to 5. And now, like we said, last year was 5 and 4, and now we're in 5, 4 and 3. So even if you came in like 2017 to the Rico, it's completely different. There's like way more stuff going on. Everything's bigger, everything's better, way more people. So yeah.
What do you think's driven that then? Is it just kind of you're spread into other industries and just bolting on like electricians and carpenters, or is it just kind of a growth in popularity of the show itself, or a bit of both?
I think it's a few things. So Mike Costain is our managing director. He did this before with EcoBuild. So back in the day, EcoBuild ran in London. I think it was Earls Court or the Olympia, and they scaled that up, and then moved into Excel. So he came on board in 2019. So he had the experience of kind of like scaling up trade shows. We were the magazine, basically. We were publishers. We were quite a small team. There was only like 6 or 7 of us. So it was quite like, like it was a SME, like you guys kind of are. So we didn't really know what we were doing. We kind of like, a couple of guys had done some events and things like that. So we were just kind of feeling that out as we went. So I think there's that. When you get somebody who comes in that's done it before and can lay the groundwork, and can also say that to the industry as well. So we're moving to the NEC. This is why it's good, because not everyone knows why it's good. I didn't know why it was good. So I think there's that. And with that, the team's grown. So we've gone from like 6 people in Salisbury to now like 30 plus in London and things like that. So it's been a massive growth as the business. But I think it's just, we're kind of a mirror for the industry, aren't we? 10 years ago, the industry was quite set. Like, you knew who the big manufacturers were. There wasn't a lot of, there was innovation, but there wasn't a lot of like this sort of stuff. So now you've got like, government incentives for heat pumps. It was a record year for heat pumps last year, record year for solar. New government, new plans for things, net zero targets. So I think there's more opportunity, which means that people are spending more time to go there. Exhibitors are spending more time and more money to go there as well. So I think we mirrored the growth of the industry. EV charging, which you mentioned that you work on. What were EVs 10 years ago? They weren't, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think my kind of theory on this as well, because there's a few of these shows around, but there's the big ones are like installershow. And I think in the world of like social media, where people are connecting with other installers all around the country, you have to go to a big show like this to actually physically meet people. And my theory is that even though a lot of what businesses do now is online and digital and everything, you cannot get a better interaction with other people than face to face, where you can actually go out for a drink with them, or you can collect at a stand. You maybe both fit this type of boiler or this type of solar panel or what have you, and actually have a conversation with these people. And I think what I've seen more and more of is that rather than just individuals going to a show to see what the latest release from this manufacturer is or ask a technical question on the stand, it's actually almost like a day out for a lot of people, where they're going to meet potentially some of these people for the first time, or they haven't seen them since the last show, and actually more of a social gathering, whilst also being in the presence of new innovation, new companies, and actually just sharing ideas on, how are you getting on with that nightmare job we was chatting about on Instagram the other week, and actually having that social element. Because I think that's a massive thing that's changed over the generations of tradespeople, is that, I think I've said this before on the podcast, when I chat to my dad about this sort of stuff and you share little tips and things online, he's often said, all these little tips and tricks used to be kind of closely guarded secrets, because you didn't want your competitor up the road to know that you put a roof on like this, or you did your joinery like that. Whereas the social media age, it's all about almost like sharing that experience. And I think shows like installershow are another avenue for people to meet up, share those ideas, and have a laugh and a bit of a decompression on the challenges that probably you're all facing, because it is lonely sometimes in business. And I think getting those like-minded people together to talk about business and to talk about products and problems is so valuable. I find it so valuable anyway.
It is. I think like that's a really good part of Installershow. I think you had the Plumber Social, was it, that's been rebadged this year as like Installer Social.
Yeah.
Are you bringing that in-house to the NEC as well, I think?
Yeah. So that was the brainchild of Pointy, who, again, we met from social media. But there's a like community of plumbers, heating engineers. There's a community of like electricians. There's a community of lots of tradespeople. And he just took it on himself to put on this event alongside Installer. It was kind of like the unofficial after party. So we all, helped him out as much as we can. But it was, it was in Digbeth. He knew the guy who ran the venue, the Mockingbird Theatre, I think it was. So he just did this off his own back because he wanted to meet up with everyone that he talks to all throughout the year. When it was called Plumber Social, some people were like, "Oh, is it just for plumbers?" And he's like, "No, it's for everyone." So we're helping him out this year because it's a lot of work to do that. It was a good hundreds and hundreds of people. He's ordered a load of pizza. He's put on live entertainment and all this sort of stuff. He's got all these bars involved. But it is a lot of work. So we said, okay, well, we'll just help you out with this. We can do it at the NEC, so it's not as far to go. We can get our organisation to do some of the organising, and he can just do the good bit. But so that's the Wednesday. It's at the Weatherspoons So it's a late opening on a Wednesday in the show. So the show, there's a lot of entertainment and hospitality and stuff like that goes till about 7. And then it'll be the installer social in the Weatherspoons at the NEC from 7 till about 11. And that is, like you said, open invite. Everyone with a ticket can come. Like there'll be some entertainment, there'll be some free food and drink and things like that. And that's a chance for you guys and reps and technical guys and like people from like the NIC, EIC and ECA and all that sort of stuff to meet in a bit more of a like social, there you go, environment and have a chat about stuff, really.
That's so important because that's when you really find out what's happening. After a few drinks, and you want to get a bit of information out of someone that's been on the stand that's been very wooden all day, and not letting you into the behind the scenes kind of what's coming down the track, and playing with a few Carlins, and they're singing like a songbird. So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to try and get to that, and yeah, it's just good to socialise with people in the same situation because, like I say, it can be a bit lonely sometimes with the challenges that we all probably face. And so those sorts of social evenings are just so valuable, valuable.
I think it's a great show that's kind of building up because of the merge. We've said this a lot between plumbers and electricians. We're kind of getting into the same areas. You're looking at entering the world of heat pumps in your business as an example. And I'm sure there's plumbing contractors who were looking at solar PV and battery storage and building their teams to kind of come together. And I guess at Installer, you have a lot of that crossover now in the people attending and those exhibiting as well. Brands are doing the same as well. You're seeing these manufacturers who maybe traditionally did heat pumps now looking at solar inverters, and there's all that evolution there. And you're in a good place, I think, to get that message out into the contractor space.
Is that what you guys are finding? There is that more because we've seen things more multi-trade at the show. We're seeing, like you said, so like things that are traditionally, so MCS, you have to be registered to do renewables. So Offtech, which is an oil technician association, are starting offering MCS, and then you get like NIC, EIC, and NAPIT offering MCS. So you are getting this kind of merger. But is that what you guys see, kind of boots on the ground as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think just with the nature of people looking to move their heating and hot water to a fully electrically driven system like an air source heat pump or electric boiler and things like that, then it naturally then brings them into the conversation of, well, okay, well, what are we going to do about this big electricity bill that we might have after, moving gas or oil or what have you? Because inevitably that bill will go up, and that then brings in the conversation about solar PV, battery storage, electric vehicles as well, and suddenly they're like, right, well, how does it all work together? And that is the real opportunity for electricians, for plumbing and heating engineers, is like the integration part of it. Anyone can fit a battery to a wall, an inverter to a wall, probably a heat pump to a wall, and learn how to fit it to an adequate standard. But getting it all to work together and it to all to sing so that it works as efficiently as possible with direct tariff integrations with these new flexible tariffs from like Octopus and other providers, suddenly then there's like this whole back office headache of like, well, how do we get the inverter to charge the battery but then stop charging the battery and put the power into the heat pump? When do we power the heat pump on? Do we look at only bringing it on when it's cheap energy? These cheap energy windows are now, even some of them during the day, because of excess wind generation and all this like craziness that we're trying to help customers with. Suddenly then it's harder to stay in your single lane of just putting in solar PV systems and what have you. And ultimately, it's trying to get ahead of the competition as well, isn't it? If you can offer as a company that you can integrate, even if you don't fit the heat pumps, but you can integrate your system with a heat pump and help the customer with the tariff and everything like that, that might just nudge you in front of the other 5 companies that customer's kind of getting quotes from. So yeah, but it's just also interesting, isn't it? It's just an interesting problem to solve, and that's why we're in these sorts of new up and coming areas, because we like problem solving.
You're dead right. It's the renewable side that's driving that coming together. I don't think we're seeing kitchen fitters and plumbers merge their businesses. It's very much electricians and heating engineers, plumbers, gas engineers, oil engineers. We're moving that fossil fuel based heating towards electrification. We're just going to see more of that. I get the inquiries at the minute where we had one this morning actually. Customer who wants a heat pump, solar PV, battery storage, and an EV, and they only want to deal with one contractor. So we're out of that conversation straight away because we don't do heat pumps. That's the job I was telling you about pre-recording. So it's also a bit more complicated with the inverter type that we've never fitted before. So I'm passing that over to you to deal with if you're interested in it. But we're going to see more of that, and it's kind of protecting your revenue stream at the end of the day. If you're not in a position to deliver all of those things, customers like simplicity. I think we'll just see more of it. It's definitely the step for us, probably in the end of 2026 when we'll start looking at heat pumps. We're just a bit busy with other bits and pieces at the minute.
Yeah, and ultimately, this whole renewables game, because it is kind of at the cutting edge, you need to have that view of what your business is going to be doing in 5 years' time. And there's no better place than these trade shows, because the companies that are exhibiting there have been there for last 2 years, but are planning to be there for the next 5 years because they've got this product that they're just trying to get some traction with that is maybe slightly ahead of its time. But where better to get loads of like-minded people that would fit this product than at a show like Installer Show, because you're trying to explain it to effectively the salespeople, because a lot of us as small to medium-sized companies, the people that are fitting it or have a large kind of interest in fitting it are also the people that are selling it to the end users and explaining how it works. So rather than just sort of giving a data sheet to a salesperson going, right, go and flog that, you are actually having to explain the technical detail to the installer so that they can spec it, design it, and ultimately sell it to the end user. And it can be a 5-10 minute conversation with a brand and with a product that you actually go, wow, that is now the product I'm going to fit, or I'm at least going to spec that on my next few jobs, because like we're going to Intersolar next week as we record here, and it's an expensive trip. Obviously, the Installer Show's free, but it can be that one person you meet or that one brand of product that you meet and all of that. And you might go through loads of different shows and you don't meet anyone. And then you go to Installer Show and you meet that one person that then sends you on this totally different track with product or a service that you start offering. Unfortunately, you have to take the time off to go and do that. Otherwise, you potentially miss out on those relationships and that information that shows like Installer have in abundance.
I mean, that's the other thing probably driving the growth, isn't it, Joe? I would guess the number of brands trying to break into these sectors for heat pumps, for solar, for battery, approaching the likes of Installer. Can we come and have a stand at your show and be front and centre in front of the contractors?
Yeah, I think the installers or the engineers like you guys are the thing that's going to drive this adoption, or any adoption, even if it's just I'm going to still fit whatever is in the house, but they're going to talk to you. Oh, I've heard about this. What type of solar panel should I? What inverter do I need? What? So yeah, I think that's why brands recognize that. So it's like they can do lots of like brand awareness, and they can do a lot of like heat pump awareness and things like that. But at the end of the day, when you walk in, they'll say, well, what do you have in your house? What would you recommend? So I think that's one of the key things for the brands. And because they recognize that, and because there's new people entering the market, like, a traditional boiler manufacturer who now does heat pumps probably wouldn't have been talking to you guys 3 or 4 years ago. But now they definitely are. So I think it's made there's a lot of opportunity, and there's a lot of new brands coming into the market. There's a lot of new innovations in the market. There's a lot of brands buying other brands in the market because there's these legally binding targets and things like that. So there is a bit of, like you said, a 5-year plan for the industry. There is a goal that they have to get to. So there is a bit of certainty where everything's going. And it might not all go there at one time, or it might not go there as quickly. It might be slower. It might be even quicker. But yeah, I think while everyone's looking to kind of adapt, evolve, it's to get everyone in one room in the middle of the country. Whatever you kind of want to get from it, it's kind of the place to be, I would say.
Yes, it's a great thing for a manufacturer to do. I mean, we've had Sage Energy really blow up in the UK. I would say in our sector, Sam, and I first saw them at a trade show. I can't remember which one it was, but that's how it works. So if there is a manufacturer out there who goes to one of these, and maybe little known out in industry, it just takes a few installers wandering past and going, actually, that's a really good feature. Never seen that before, and then that triggers the curiosity, and before you know it, you're grown into this company that's delivering thousands of these systems all over the country.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing that's special about these shows is that, because this is my mindset when I go there, is I've effectively dedicated that time to investigate new products. When you get cold calls or emails during the week, and you've got a million and one other problems to deal with. And
Send me an email. Yeah.
So you basically get an email with it that's got a data sheet on. it's very cold, and you're like, well, it doesn't look any different to the other 5 that we're able to fit. When you actually go to one of these shows and you see the product, you see that it that it fits together really easily, or it's got this capacity, and you can chat about specific situations and that it solves a problem. That's when you really get influenced in changing behavior. It's very hard to influence a company's behavior unless they've got people that are employed to look at this, which like would be my dream job. Then it's very rare for a company to have time out of their busy schedule to actually sit down for an hour or two and actually go into and look at a product, because and still you don't have it in front of you to be able to get your hands on, and that tradespeople are very hands on and like to lift things, move things, see how it connects in, and that's very hard to do from a data sheet. So again, that's why these shows are just so critical to seeing what's coming out on the market and grilling people. And I think a really big thing that we've seen at some shows, and I think it was Installer Show that I saw this first, was this whole like AI style sort of tariff and home consumption automation, so that it can sync in with your heat pump, your solar, your battery, so that it brings everything together to keep your home running on energy, and it gets all the data from each individual piece of equipment and merges that up, and then the gods that are AI basically tell it when the battery when to discharge to the grid, when to discharge to the heat pump, and all this sort of stuff. So that's something that I saw last year at Installer Show. So yeah,
it's the exciting part of where the industry's going. We're in that clunky phase at the minute, aren't we, where stuff sort of works a lot of the time, but sometimes falls apart, and we're hoping AI is going to fix those problems for us. It's just those tariffs move around so much, don't they, in what they do, and that's outside of the manufacturer's control and our control as installers, and who knows what it'll be like in a couple of years. So it needs that kind of intercompatibility, doesn't it? I think where all these systems are singing from the same hymn sheet, and learning about that at Installer Show, because it's not just brands and equipment, is it? I think that's something that a lot of people maybe don't understand who've not visited these shows. There's seminars going on as well about technical subjects and topics. There's tools. It's not just like inverters, air source heat pumps. You got other bits there, Joe.
Yeah, no, I think that connectivity bit is the most interesting thing that's come in the last couple of years, because you would be like, okay, well, I fit boiler, so I talk to a boiler brand, and I don't talk to this boiler brand. You guys fit whatever. Now, even the manufacturers have to talk to the suppliers, and they have to talk to other manufacturers, and they have to talk to manufacturers outside of their traditional bits to make sure everything's interconnected. And then, like you said, how connected is connected? If I'm on this protocol, how much does your protocol? And I think if you try to read all that through about 9 different data sheets, or you try to educate yourself on their websites, it would take you forever. I think they're working hard behind the scenes to make this happen. They want to talk to new avenues, and then to do that, you need the tools to do it. So we've got that. So yeah, there's pretty much everything you need to do a job under one roof. But yeah, I think that's definitely something that's changed in the last couple of years. I think everything's been a bit siloed, and now because we're talking systems, everything has to come together, and that's beyond your control. That's beyond the manufacturer's control. That's probably even beyond the government's control. But they'll all be having meetings and stuff like that behind the scenes as well. At the show, and like merchants and things like that, suppliers. Who is your favorite brand? Where do I get this from? How can I get it? Is there one in my area? Can I get it online 24 hours delivered, which is a new thing that like is much easier, I imagine, for you guys, that probably didn't happen 5 years ago. So I think that's one of the good things. I think we say the industry becoming more multi-trade, but I think it is, and I think we're seeing that.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. And yeah, the rapid delivery side of things is a game changer. We had an experience of that last week where we were short or something and made a request that morning, and it was there by the end of the day, which is just, it's nuts when you think about it. That's the world we're in now, isn't it? And yeah, I guess that can breed complacency as well in your ordering and procurement of these jobs, because you think, well, actually, if I get something, I can have it the same day now.
Yeah, it's risky. I mean, it helps with, it can help with cash flow and that though as well, can it? Because if you're a business that does all this sort of stuff and you don't want to keep, tens of thousands of pounds worth of equipment there, the difference was, many years ago, or not too long ago, you'd order it and it'd be there kind of maybe within a week. And now when you're getting something the same day, and you have all these like, Screwfix Sprint and all these other things where they basically come on a little moped with the screws that you're missing and drop it off, and we work in London a little bit, but some of these areas where you can't get parked and all that sort of stuff, it must just be so valuable to be able to just go, yeah, order it, and then they come on their moped or their car or whatever, throw it through the window, and you're able to carry on with your job. And the industry changes so much, and then this interconnectivity between the trades is the next big frontier, because the equipment can only get so cheap. Like we've seen solar panel pricing come down quite a lot, inverter pricing come down, all this sort of stuff. It can only come down to a certain level. It'll never be free. So it can only come down to a certain level. But so the value will end up being in the integration between all these pieces of equipment.
Yeah, I think that if you talk to a lot of manufacturers as well, not just the price, but the what they can do, they're pretty much engineered now. There's not a lot, they can't get a lot more out of it. Like your boilers are pretty much as good as they'll ever be. Your heat pumps are pretty much as good as they'll ever be. It's the technology behind it. It's the controls and the systems and the interoperational stuff, which is the interesting bit. And that is, like you said, if I was a consumer, price dependent, but you would say, okay, I want solar, battery, like you said, EV, and I want heat pump, and I want you to do it, like all of it. And even if you don't do it yourself, you just send around. I can't be asked to go and get my electrician to do this, and my heating engineer to do this, and my plumber to go and do this. I want you to kind of organise all of that. So I think that's why the industry is excited. That's why car manufacturers are talking to like heat pump manufacturers and boiler manufacturers and solar manufacturers. And I think that's what's definitely driven the growth of the show and driven the popularity of the different audiences. So it's not just a heating show anymore. It's not just a plumbing show. There's a lot more electricians there. There's a lot more renewables, but there is like kitchens and bathrooms. There's people who they might have pivoted their journey in a different direction and been like, okay, I want to go more into the plumbing side, the kitchens and the bathroom side. And then, like you said, Mark, which I think you're working on the trades area, aren't you?
I am,
which is the bit that kind of brings it all together, because all of you need van, trade essentials, wipes, tools, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so is the show set up like zonally then?
No, because it would be a bit. We just talked about, everything's coming together.
Yeah.
You don't then want to be like, we're all coming together. You go over there. You go over there. You go over there. There is going to be bits of it, because obviously we've grown. If you rebook every year, you probably want the same area. So it's like, I've been by the door, so I want to be by the door. So yeah, Hall 5 is probably more of your traditional kind of HVAC stuff with renewables. In Hall 4, because we're moving into new areas, that's more of your kitchens and bathrooms. We're doing more build this year. So installer build, which isn't like construction as in like concrete but it's everything that kind of goes into it. So like you said, you're now talking insulation. If you're talking solar, then you're talking roofing. If you're talking kitchens and bathrooms, you're talking worktop. So it's more like that sort of stuff. So we're building a proper 2-story house with all the working components in there.
Wow.
For like, they'll have renewables, it'll have this, it'll have that. I don't work on that project, so I don't know. That house is then going to go somewhere to be a demonstration home or part of like a housing. So it's a legitimate thing that everything in there will work. So it's almost a case of like the government says they want to build however many homes. We're building one in the show that is good enough to go into a property basically immediately. So that'll be in Hall 4 as well. And then Hall 3 will be more of the trade stuff, which is the vans, your tools and your trade essentials and things like that. But we don't want it to be, there's bits like peppered throughout, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's why I was asking, because we've got our own little stand there, Sam, the Renewables podcast, and I noticed we're quite close to Milwaukee, the NIC, I think, and then there was a couple of plumbing brands that are not familiar to me, and I just thought maybe that is kind of the vibe you're going for, that it is a bit of a blend about.
Yeah, you want it to be agile. You want it to be like, you don't just want to go to one corner and that be your solar corner and go to, because it would just be boring, wouldn't it? And like you said, you wander around and then you see stuff. So it might not be, you might not think, especially with some of these brands as well, some of the brand titles you don't think relate to like what they actually are. And then you're like, oh, right, I didn't realise that you did this. I didn't realise you did this. So, yeah.
So for people who are planning on pitching up, then is this something where you'd recommend a day, 2 days? Or is it something where you can pop in and just zoom to where you need to be and zoom back out the day?
I think it depends. I think you need a good couple of hours to do it. I think to get around all of it, you take 2 or 3 days out. A lot of the guys do stay over and do. There's a lot of stuff going on in the evenings as well. Like you said, the plumber social, but there's other kind of like hospitality things. So it is kind of worth travelling up, staying over, doing like the morning and the afternoon or whatever. But you can go on the website and obviously you can pick and you can go through and say, okay, I just want to talk to X, Y, and Z. And you could do that as well. But yeah, the dwell time, which is a events thing, is the highest it's ever been because there's so much to do. And because like you said, you could go and talk to somebody for 45 minutes and that's one. Show's open for like 6 or 7 hours. So yeah, if you want to talk to 7 brands for an hour or do a CPD for an hour, that's 2 hours already gone. Yeah, so it's a big thing now. Whereas, like you said, back at the Rico days, you could whip round it all twice in a day and then you could be home. But yeah, I definitely recommend like committed some time to it and doing a bit of research as well. If you want to talk to somebody, you can find them on the website. You could ask us, or you could approach them and say, I've seen this online, or I've seen this, I know you're at the show. Can we book in a time to do something?
Yeah, Lucy had asked for my top tips to give to people attending these shows, and that was one of mine. That do your research first and actually look at the map of the place, and if you've got things you want to go and see and you are on a limited time, make sure you do that first, because it's so easy to meet someone you know online and spend an hour talking to them, or go and do the CPD thing, and then you're looking at your watch, you're like, oh damn, and you've got a job booked the next day. It's not easy for everyone to take a full 3 days out what they're doing. So be a bit selfish with that. If you are going to the show, see the things you want to see and then do the other bits after that. Myself, I try and put at least a couple of days in, if it's solar and storage or the installer show or CEF live, as we've got as well, set some time aside and go and get best value from that.
Yeah, you have to, on the scale of these shows now, you need, if you want to go around it all, if you go in there specifically to meet people, then obviously that can be a fixed time, like a couple of hours or what have you. But I think to make the most out of these shows, and if you go in there just to experience, kind of trying to find new things and learn new things, you've got to put a couple of days into it. If you can spare that time, like you say, people are busy, can't afford to take time out of their working lives to go to it, and I totally get that. But if you're in that position, then my experience of all these shows is you get stuck talking to people you want to speak to, but you get stuck talking to people, and suddenly you've not seen hardly anything there. And I think what's really good about the show that you two were just talking about there, about it being mixed up, so that you're able to, 1 minute you're looking at, speaking to us on our stand, next minute you're on a heat pump stand or some sort of valve stand on then the Milwaukee, is that it's very easy to run to your safe place in these shows, and that might be an inverter brand, or might be our stand. You might speak to us quite a lot, but when everything's mixed up, you're kind of thrown into that blender of like, right, okay, well, there's this stand here, let's have a little look at that. So you can't potentially get kind of just trapped in your own little bubble. You with everything being mixed up, you can kind of experience everything at the show. So I think that's a really good way to try and achieve that that mixture, to make sure you do experience it. Because you don't learn anything if you just go to the same stands every single year. You need to try and look at other things at the show.
Yeah,
I try to do anyway.
The learning aspect's important, because we need to do a certain amount of CPD every year as electricians. It's like obligatory now, whether we like it or not, and we have to record it. And there's only so much of that you can sit and do online, and going out to a show and taking an hour's CPD that's properly accredited and valuable, it ticks that box of satisfying our awarding bodies, but also we learn something, don't we? And I think at installershow you've got a fair bit of that going on, it's fair to say.
Yeah, so the whole event is CPD accredited. So when you scan in, it will say like how many hours. So if you're in from like 10 till 4, however many hours that is.
Even in Wetherspoons?
Can't do. No, in the show. You'll then get pinged a link, and it will say, "Hi Mark, here is your link, and you can go on and get your however many hours CPD for that as well." And then we've got quite a few sessions as well that will be accredited by the associations as well. So like SIBSE, I've got a theatre, the Chartered Institute of Building Service Engineers. Obviously, all of their stuff is going to be accredited by that. We're doing installer electric as its own area for the first time this year. So we've been attracting more and more electricians. I think, like you said, Mark, under the kind of guise of renewables. So you might not have thought installer show as an electrical show. You might have thought it's mainly heating and plumbing, but I'll go because there's going to be some like renewable stuff as well. So that's why the solar bit has come in. That's why that's gone well. So we did Get Connected last year, which is that connectivity bit. But again, it's a bit of crossover in it. So there was bits there about heat pumps and for heating engineers, and bits for electricians. So this year we do our post-show research, and all the electricians say we like it, but we want more for us, more like meat and potatoes electricians rather than your future gaze and then the renewable side. So we said, yeah, brilliant, let's do that. So we're doing installer electric, which is your CPD accredited stuff from MCS, NICEIC, ECA, NAPIT. We've got CEDA involved as well. So if you go on the website and you can look at the content that's going to be there, you can look at all the different theatres, but you can plan that into it as well. So that's something that's big for us this year. And it's not that we'll touch on stuff like, battery storage and all that sort of stuff, but it will also wiring regulations and things like that. So that's what's new and exciting for electricians in 2025.
Yeah, no, I think trying to cater for as many people as possible to just get them into the show, it then opens up their eyes to go, oh well, I've never been into solar. I'm going to go and have a little chat 'cause I've got an hour left. I'll go and have a little chat, and that might be that gateway into them looking at EV charging or solar PV or air source heat pumps and having that chat. That's why I say it's about that one. It just has to be that one person or that one experience you have to make that 3 days, if you've been able to spare that time to be at the show, can transform your business, or it might not. That's the risk you take with the time. But putting that time and effort into it to develop your own understanding and see what else is out there is so valuable in my view. And that's why we're really thrilled to be at the show, because we want to chat to people that watch this every week and comment and chat to us online and everything else, because we're really excited to be doing that. And we've got our own kind of bit of an itinerary that we've been putting together, Mark, haven't we? And just for our little stand, trying to bring some value to people that are going to the show.
Yeah, we do. We want to do the show credit in itself because we've been given the privilege of being allowed to go, but also those listening who listen to us every week come along and interact with us. So we put a bit of a pot of stuff together that we're going to give away, and Sam has drafted a little schedule, and we've got some other people coming to potentially chat with us as well. We're still to firm all of that up, but now we can say it's actually CPD accredited by virtue of being in the hall. So you can come and talk to us and get your CPD as well now.
Yeah, well, what we wanted to do with our little stand is basically bring groups of people together and also pre-announce to our audience here really the times and what we're aiming to do during those times. So we're looking at doing roof mounting kind of conversations, and it's not going to be there as like a lecture. It's going to be there as kind of a group think and a group discussion. So if you've got a roof type that you're not too sure about how to fit solar PV onto, or you've got some heating controls that you're not too sure how to wire up, or what's an X plan, what's this D plan, all these other kind of new and what's open loop, all this stuff that I'm going through at the minute with my heat pump journey, all that sort of stuff. So we're trying to have a bit of a mixture of different people, things like people like Proteus. We're firming everything up to basically have conversations similar to the podcast, but in person, with everyone contributing to asking questions and really just getting that conversation going. And yeah, we're also going to do something that I know me and you are very interested in, Mark, which is the contractor decompression, aren't we? Where we're going to open the floor to a good moan and a good bit of therapy, because we all need that from time to time.
For sure we do, and we're going to have a few beers on the stand as well. Lucy's given us permission on that, so we can maybe raise a glass to each other's as well and drown our sorrows. Yeah, there's definitely an element of that. Sometimes with the struggles of building a business in renewables, it can be quite tough. And, we have those chats online through social media, and sometimes a little chat in person can make all the difference. So we're going to set a bit of time aside on our stand to do that. And anyone who's coming along to take part in some of these, we've got T-shirts to give away, we've got cups, what's the other things? We've got pens, travel cups.
Travel mugs,
Oh, diaries. So not diaries, notepads.
Yeah.
Notepads. So we made a bit of an effort of using show revenue that we've built up through just chatting to each other week to week to take and give back to the audience, really. That's what we're trying to do, isn't it? Yeah,
we are. And we're going to pre-release this itinerary out there once we've got kind of commitments from the people that we want to speak to, so that people can come to the stand at a certain time, as long as we run things on schedule, which after a few of the branded beers might be a bit more difficult. But as long as things run on schedule, then people can come and actually come with a question, or just come to listen, don't have to be involved in the actual conversation. And let's just bring everyone together, which is, like we said, the real value in these sorts of shows, to me anyway, when I've been to them, is meeting up with people and having those conversations and learning even more about the trade that you're in.
Yeah, and the other thing, I was talking to Joe pre the recording that we're going to take little snippets to put on the show as well. So if you are watching this and you want to feature on our chats, we're going to be recording through the event, roving style as we've done before, where we're going to dive out around the show as well and speak to people on their stands. But also if you want to chat with us as an installer or a brand or anyone really, come along to our stand and we can record little segments, put them together to show what it's like at Installer Show and your views and experiences while you've been there.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a few little times in this draft itinerary where we're going to be going out into the show and recording what we can see, probably speaking to people out and about as well, not just at our stand. But we've going to try and keep that quite structured so that we can be back on the stand having those conversations. But also, if you can't get to install a show because sometimes people are away and you can't get time off work, then you can watch. They're very visual, these ones, so you can watch them on YouTube and hopefully plan a bit of time in for next year when you can maybe get the time off to come to Installer.
Yeah, they're some of the more popular episodes we've had on YouTube, to be fair, I guess, because they are very visual when we've been around these shows. So hopefully they are useful to you watching. And I'm excited to go and do it, mate, to be honest. It's something, I mean, we've done the safe isolation stand, and again, Installer Show have given free stand space for that as well, which is like an industry effort that's going on out there where we're raising awareness of the importance of safe isolation. So I've had a bit of experience of interacting with contractors through that. But this is quite daunting in our own right. I'm not going to lie, and trying to get this organised. I'm sure you, Joe, this like decade-long experience of getting involved in these. It's water off a duck's back these days.
No, it's always stressful. It never gets easier. It'd be interesting to see though. Like you said when we were talking earlier about how to get around the show the most efficient way. I think meeting a lot of the visitors come to meet the brands they already deal with because you probably want to have a moan or you want to talk to your rep or you want to see the latest products. I would try and advise people to like look around, have a wander. So it'd be interesting to see when you guys do that, what you find and what you think is, even in some of the smaller stands, it will be a lot of innovation. There might be innovation on the big stands. You just don't know until you go on and try. So I'd be really interested to see post-show what you both come up with, or what anyone that's going to come and visit you has said, oh, have you been over there and you've seen this? Because there is a lot and it's a fast-moving industry. So it would be interesting to see what you come back with. It might not even be a product. It could be a service. It could be insurance. It could be whatever you need. But yeah, there's a lot of things going on. So it'd be quite interesting.
I think that was one of the things that caught my eye last time was the charging tariff things that you can do. And if you've got an EV charger, there's things like Monter, isn't there, where you can make revenue. So it was chatting with a company at the show who was doing things like that I wasn't even aware of as installers, where we can make a little bit of commission off the back of that. So that was something that I'd picked up there. And yeah, you're just not aware of this stuff. If you're not looking for it and it's not put in front of you, you'd never know, would you? So that's the big benefit of these shows.
Yeah, and there must be so much that goes into the kind of the background of organising something on this scale. I mean, for me, I'm like, do they get like 362 days off a year? And it's just like the 3 days. It's just like,
Almost, yeah.
like Santa Claus style, employment status. But I'm assuming it takes kind of the full year to really get something of this size and this kind of financial commitment for that, for the company. To actually be able to put all this together, there must be so many moving parts to try and put all this sort of thing together.
Yeah. There's 30 plus of us in the team that just works on the Installer Show. And that's like sales, marketing, content, and kind of everything in between. Then there's a lot of people that we have come in, like doing hosting and things like that. We have people who come in to do like badge scanning. We've got lots of different, we've got the event kind of organizers who do the actual organization bit. You've got the guys delivering it, putting it up, putting the carpet down. So yeah, it's a massive, massive beast. It is quite funny, like you said. It takes 3 days to build up and then like a day to come down and then you're kind of done. But it's a big investment for your guys' time because like you said, you could be earning money. You have to travel and all that sort of stuff. It's a big investment for the manufacturers as well. So I think that's another thing. They're putting as much into their stand as we kind of are for the whole show. So they want to talk to you. They want you to come on and see their products. They want you to have a beer or try a challenge or whatever, which is, again, all leads to it being a success. So they have to be there. And that you can do that with a massive stand. If you're like one of the bigger ones, you can do that with quite a small stand. Like your guys will be not as big as some of the other ones because some of them are monsters. So everyone's kind of putting in as much, well, hopefully everyone's putting in as much as they kind of want to get out from it. And that's what makes it quite a good event. You could probably go around it with no knowledge and just have fun, like hitting things with hammers and like trying tool things and getting freebies. So yeah, it does take a lot of organisation.
I can imagine. You always know it's a good show if they put the carpet down as well. That's the big giveaway at these things. When
it looks like a proper show when the carpet goes down.
It does. It does. I've been to a few where they've scrimped on the carpet and you're just like, oh, that's a mistake, guys.
I hope we've got carpet this year. No.
Yeah, no, I think that's I'm really looking forward to it. Like this conversation just reminds me how much I love doing this. I've done some other shows with with some other companies before, and it's just so nice just having those conversations with other installers and learning what's out there, and just taking in that information and trying to build those person to person kind of relationships, because people buy from people, and that's the same when we're dealing with end customers, domestically or commercially, trying to win someone over as a customer to buy our services in our own private companies, but also when we're dealing with wholesalers or when we're dealing with brands and things like that, it can be very much person to person because you get on with that rep or you get on with that technical person or, just the way that they are, their experience. We're creatures that love that sort of connection. And I think these shows are just great for that, building that connection up.
Yeah, they are. I mean, that's a great way, I think, to close that conversation out. Is there anything you wanted to add, Joe, while you are here with us? Anything you want to drop into the conversation before we end this one?
No, I think you're right. I think you guys are quite personal people. Like, you're personal and you're like hands-on because you have to physically go to a merchant or a supplier. You have to physically get products. You have to physically go into people's houses. You have to physically talk to them. You have to physically install it. And there's all these different innovations and stuff like that. And there's all the social media, which all adds to it. But that's why our trade show is like a trade show for tradespeople. It's very hands-on. There's lots of things you can get, deals and offers, and you can try out everything because you want to go in and pick it up. How much does it weigh? How versatile is it? How does it look compared to this? So yeah, I think it's a proper trade event for tradespeople. It feels more like a consumer show than it does a boring trade show where people go around in grey suits and look at things on the wall. So yeah, it's a proper good 3 days. You can come at any time. Please register because it's much easier when you get in. Go and see the guys on the stand, have a chat, come and see everything. You can come and you can collar us. We'll have like mascots and that sort of stuff walking around as well. So if you see Dame Judi Dench, you can grab a selfie with her. But yeah, it's definitely worth coming.
Are you going to have what are they called? It's a splash dance. I've got what they call now. Where they have
Flash mob.
Flash mob. That's it.
I don't know. There's so much going on at this point.
They scared the hell out of me last time because I was like right next to him. I was like, "What's going on here?" And everyone's dancing around. It was really good. Caught me by unawares.
Oh, I'd love to see you get into that, Mark. Just
imagine if they put me in the middle of it.
Do I have to get involved? Yeah. Am I in? Am I out?
Yeah. No, that's really cool. I've gone through all of my bits. Like I say, come and speak to us if you're watching this on our stand. The itinerary will be released before we obviously the show starts. Once we've got confirmed guests with everybody, we'd love to have you there. Have an open chat with us about things that you're facing. It'll give us some more ideas as well for topics to cover. And we just want to have that real close engagement with everyone that supported us for just over a year now that we've been going. So yeah, we'd love that. I'll let you lead us out then, Mark.
Yeah. I mean, just to thank you again, Joe, for travelling up to see us. It's not an insignificant journey, by the way. Another person visiting us from Southampton. It must be popular in Southampton. Everyone's travelling up. But it's a long trip up for you, so thank you very much. And we will drop a link in wherever you're watching this to go over to the installer website and see all of the details, and you can register over there as well. So do go over and make sure you do that. We're bumping this one up the release order, so this one's going to come out. What day is it today? It's Thursday, isn't it? So a week after recording this, it'll be public and out, so you can get a good sight of it before the show. And we will be there on our stand, looking forward to meeting you all with our merch to give out as well. If you've got any questions around anything else that we've been talking about or ideas for us to cover in topics, please do drop them in below. And to get the itinerary, go off and follow the Instagram page for the Renewables Podcast. And if you're on LinkedIn, we've got a page there as well for that. We'll pop those in those two places as we get nearer to the show. And otherwise, just thank you for watching.
Thank you very much.